Hello and welcome to the Burn the Ships podcast. After a trip to the 15-day disabled list, rehab appearances, meeting with the doctor and, getting elbows wrapped and everything, we are back feeling very healthy and very confident as we head into this new day and time to get back at it. And, of course, joining me as always for a busy show to discuss many topics is my good friend, Justin Russo. Justin, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday?
I am doing quite exceptional considering I used the cream in the clear to get back into shape. So
That's a good call
hashtag,
always.
hashtag I love you, Barry Bonds.
Yeah, I was using the whole cough syrup thing, but then I got popped for a suspension, and I worked around it, but
Gotta go holistic.
Yeah. So one of the things...
Well, so I guess this actually works because speaking about people that missed a ton of time to start the year,
Tim Lincecum, who... And just before we talk about Tim Lincecum with the Angels, so this is one of the things where it was a weird process because he had the hip surgery, and we kept hearing about this showcase, how it was going to happen. It was going to happen. It's happened this week, the next week, then that week, and it kept getting pushed back. And then it finally happened. And I mean, he says he feels great. I guess he's topping out at 91 to 93, but usually sitting around 89 to 91. And he signed with the LA Angels. You being an LA Angels follower, what do you think of the move?
it's not unexpected because they do need pitching help. They are missing, the Angels, that is, believe 4 starters. Andrew Heaney's now going to have Tommy John. Garrett Richards might have Tommy John, but he's out for a little bit because he got a second opinion that said he only has to be out like 6 weeks. So Heaney's out. Garrett Richards is out. Now, mind you, those were their number 1 and number 2 starters to start the season. So they're both out. C.J. Wilson hasn't pitched yet this year because he's trying to recover from surgery. Tyler Skaggs hasn't come back yet from his Tommy John surgery. The last time we saw Tyler Skaggs in a Major League Baseball game, he was pitching in Baltimore, and he had a no-hitter and threw his arm out. So, that's great. It's hard to say what Lincecum does for the Angels outside of he'll probably just make a few starts here and there, and then when guys start coming back, he'll just be put in the bullpen role. But I don't see how it's a bad signing only because you need somebody.
Yeah.
You can't start really Corey Rasmus that much. You can't start like when I was at the game on Friday, I saw Mike Morin go to about 2 innings, 2 1/3, I think. I was like, okay, well, he's not a starting guy. He's a good bullpen guy. That's it. And it's like you can't really put relievers in the starting role when your bullpen's already not that great anyways.
Yeah.
So he helps. From what I heard, I think he's going to what is it, like he's gonna pitch simulated game, then do rehab assignments in AAA, and then he's gonna just come up.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I don't think he's gonna be great or anything, but I think he's gonna be at least, I guess, serviceable is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing, because right now he's one of the healthiest starting pitchers the Angels have, which is saying something since he's coming off hip surgery. But if you are to believe what he says about the hip being fixed and it just has cleared up a lot of problems, and the stuff is we're not talking about the stuff of when he was Cy Young. When we're talking about, good enough stuff where he can be a number 4, number 5 guy, this is a winning signing by the Angels, considering all the issues they have. Get a starting pitcher on the cheap who can maybe provide you some solidarity in that rotation at the back end. It's a nice move.
Yeah, the velocity dip with Lincecum since he first showed up and where it is now is concerning, but at the same time, I don't think it really matters as much when you're kind of talking about him as just eat innings at this point. We don't need you to be great or even that good. Just eat innings. That's all he has to do. So from that perspective, he should be fine. I'm not expecting him to even come close to what he was, but I'm also not expecting him to be a complete dumpster fire. Now, he could be a dumpster fire because from his workout, when he did his little pitch session thing, they said after the first 2 innings, his velocity dropped down to 88, 89. It's like, okay, that's not great, but we'll see what happens when he starts getting arm strength back because he said himself that was kind of like a spring training start, like the first start of spring training, basically.
Yeah.
So we'll see when he builds up his arm strength. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so pitching has been an issue all year for the Angels, and I mean, right now you could like left field's an issue for them right now. And one thing we talked about before the show was Ryan Braun has 4 years left on his contract, big contract, with a fifth-year mutual option with the buyout. And really, with how he's doing at the plate right now, which is just smashing the ball, Milwaukee, they have no use for an old player with a big contract who's not helping them rebuild. So it seems like a prime trade candidate. And what do you think about Braun as a fit for LA?
For the Angels, he fits. Now, this is the thing. First off, their left fielders suck at hitting. Okay, I think collectively they're one of the worst left field situations in baseball, which isn't shocking. I mean, let's be realistic. We all knew it was going to be bad. There's no one there, you know. They're 27th in weighted runs created plus among left field platoons in baseball. They're 29th in weighted on base. So that tells, like, literally they're one of the possibly 3 or 4 worst left field situations in baseball. From one side of the equation, here's a way to look at it. At least they're not Tigers bad, because Tigers bad is a ton of money given to Justin Upton.
Yeah.
So that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is I don't know what they have to give up, because A, he has a ton of money left on his deal, but B, he's still going to require some prospects because he is hitting well.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they have left. Like, are you going to give up a Taylor Ward or Jahmai Jones? I mean, you might, because, I mean, they're not great prospects. They're just there. Caleb Coward, if you still want to call him a prospect, you might give him up because maybe the Brewers can get more out of him as a third baseman, or even if they want to throw him back to being a pitcher. Nate Smith is a lefty who's been pretty good at AAA. I mean, maybe you can get him as like a quality 4th or 5th starter, I guess, but we'll see. Victor Alcantara, he's always been more, I guess, potential than production. So maybe the Brewers can get a little, I guess, they can unlock some of the potential with him, like they did with Jeremy Jeffress. Remember him?
Yep.
He was supposed to be a starter, but then they moved him to the bullpen and it panned out because now he's actually throwing 100 miles an hour and looks at least okay. So maybe they can do that with Alcantara. I don't know what else there is to give. There isn't a great prospect. With Braun's deal, they might not have to give a great prospect. It's really weird. The situation will be interesting because before we went on the air, we were discussing him, and it's like there's only 6 teams he can't block a deal to. The Angels were one. The Dodgers, Padres, Marlins, Giants, and who was the other one?
Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Diamondbacks. Yeah, there we go. So basically 5 West Coast teams and the Marlins. So, and the Marlins won't trade for him because they already have Christian Yelich in left field.
Yeah, and the Giants won't trade for him because they don't want that in their clubhouse. Dodgers.
I don't think the Dodgers would trade for him only because with Trace Thompson's emergence right now, do you really take a bats away from Trace Thompson to give him to Ryan Braun? Which, now, to be fair, Ryan Braun at bats are better than Trace Thompson at bats, but Trace Thompson at bats at least get him ready for the future.
What do you think about Braun as a fit for Arizona? I mean, just looking at that outfield right now, David Peralta's out, Pollock's out for the year. I mean, they're trotting out.
Who's their left fielder? Ricky Weeks and Yasmani Tomas? Is that who it is?
And then the right fielder trotting out a former catcher. I'm just trying to blank on his name right now.
Drury?
Oh no, it's not even Drury. It's Herman.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, he could fit Arizona. It also depends on what Arizona thinks of themselves.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is I don't know what Arizona thinks of themselves. Do they think that they're like actual contenders? Because if you bring in Ryan Braun and then when is there like an estimate of when Pollock is supposed to be back? Is that like a thing? Like, do they know yet?
It may not be this year.
See, that's interesting because if you get Braun now, the odds are you have to win with him now. However, they are still set up for next year to where they could still be good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing, I was just watching an Arizona game recently, and I think it was their GM or someone in the front office saying, after a very slow start to the season, they felt like they were on the upswing. The pitching was coming together. I mean, this was before the David Peralta injury. Like, they felt like things were starting to improve and turn around. Greinke's finding his form. Ruby De La Rosa is
Has,
missing a lot of bats.
he's been their best pitcher.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he and probably Robbie Ray.
Yeah. So I mean, if it depends on what you'd have to give up, but like
Now, but this is the interesting thing. When we were off the air, you brought up the Cleveland Indians.
yes,
Now, Braun would have a say so about whether or not he can like reject the trade. But as it currently sits, the Indians are what, 2.5 out of first. Their left field situation hasn't been great. In left field right now, it's basically Rajai Davis and Jose Ramirez, and even Marlon Byrd at times. I don't know how much you're gonna like. I don't know how long you can count on Rajai Davis hitting home runs. You know what I mean?
not very is the answer to that.
Yeah, not very at all. I just don't know what they'd be willing to give up. Because, like, do you give up Zimmer? Do you give up Clint Frazier? Do you give up Brady Aiken? You know what I mean?
I think I have to dig to their. Does Milwaukee target a guy like Bobby Bradley? Fill the find to get a first base in the future.
He won't be up for a while, though. That's the thing.
He won't, but you are getting out of Braun's contract, and you're going to have that guy who you have confidence that can be.
Well, that's the thing with Milwaukee. Do you take a do you take a hitter who has a power profile and will walk, but won't be up for a couple years, or do you take a similar thing with Brady Aiken? Like Brady Aiken won't be up for a couple years, but there is the possibility he's a legit number one.
Yeah, I just don't think that Cleveland would be ready to give up on him or give him up so soon after drafting him.
That's true. I don't think they would be either, but I think it would be an interesting conversation that could possibly take place between the Indians and the Brewers. Like, there could be some interesting things that are at play there.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're going to get Bradley Zimmer for him.
No,
they might get Clint Frazier, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, I feel like Frazier and Zimmer would be off limits with the contract. So I think you're looking at maybe Bradley, Kaminsky, Justice Sheffield, along those lines.
They might even be able to get Mike Clevenger.
Yeah.
Now, Clevenger, to be fair, hasn't been great in his 2 major league starts. However, when I was watching him start yesterday against the White Sox, you can see the stuff.
Yep.
He just doesn't have the command right now, and that was the problem. God, Brett Laurie destroyed a fastball that was like middle, and it was almost like Clevenger threw it because he had to throw a strike.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it didn't end well. But you can see the stuff, like his fastball is good, his slider's ridiculous. It's just his story is interesting, by the way. I don't know if you know his story.
I don't.
So the Angels had him. That was an Angels draft pick in like 2011 or something. They tinkered with his like delivery a little bit, and they then trade him to Cleveland for, I believe, Vinny Pastano. Do you remember Vinny Pastano? That's who they traded him for.
Yep.
So the Indians told him, just go back to the delivery you had. Just go back to the delivery you had as when you were in high school. Just figure something that's going to work for you, because he started to have arm problems with the Angels.
Yeah.
So the Indians sent him and basically told him to do this. He fixes his arm troubles, and so far this year in AAA, I think he made like 7 starts. He had ERA around 3. He was striking about 9 per 9. He was good. So it's like, tinkering with delivery sometimes isn't always the answer. That's why I think the Indians were better served just telling him to go back to what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because comfort level, it counts for a lot,
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe the Brewers would ask for him just because he's already a major league guy right now, and you can get a 3rd or 4th starter out of him. And he's already 25, I think. So, I mean, you could get something out of him. But, yeah, I think there is a marriage there, but I don't know if Braun would accept a deal to Cleveland. That's like the only thing.
Yeah, it'd be a chance for him to compete, but yeah, I don't know if he'll just – it may not be what he's looking for, and he'll just block the trade.
That sounds like something that he would do.
He may just be glad to get the heck out of Milwaukee.
Would Boston be interested in him? Because Brock Holt isn't hitting right now.
But the one that, I know he's hitting right now. I know Braun's hitting right now, but you also have some contracts there. Like, You have Sandoval's contract, which
Oh
has got
yeah,
years left.
that's a lovely deal.
Talk about something the Giants are very thankful that he said no to.
Yeah, I think other teams are probably sad that he said no to that.
Oh yeah. So, and I mean, one other team that could use left field just goes into the Giants. Although Braun probably wouldn't be a fit, but Angel Pagan hurt his hamstring, re-aggravated his hamstring again. He's going to get an MRI today. Who knows how long he's going to be out? Gregor Blanco, as much as I like him as a fourth outfielder. It's his perfect role. So right now, Giants, and they don't have a lot of power in left field. So while they were able to win the series against Chicago, a lot of it was low-scoring games. And, you had Matt Cain driving the RBI. It's just they need more BAM in left field.
Yeah, and I do wonder what the Giants would give up. Like, do you give up a Phil Bickford? Do you give up a Lucius Fox? Do you give up a Mac Williamson? Do you give up guys like that? Or do you then say, all right, here's Christian Arroyo or Tyler Beatty, and that's just it? Like, that's all you're getting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. Like, we talked about it before. I don't know what the Brewers can get for Braun in terms of prospects.
I feel like it would end up being more of the B- level graded guys. B-, C+. Because you figure the team will say, all right, we'll take on some of this contract or a lot of it, but we're not going to be giving you one of our top guys, some of our top guys in the system.
Yeah, maybe that's why like a Chris Shaw could make sense for them.
Yeah. And Shaw would be, because he's crushing it right now. And I think it's been talked about just how much they love his approach to the plate and the work he's put in. So it'll be interesting to see. Is there any other left fielders you think could be on the market?
I don't know. That's the thing, because this free. Okay, because this is the whole thing I was talking about. Or when I took my hiatus from Twitter, I would have conversations with people like like my brother and stuff, stuff like that, and we would talk about the free agent market as it was supposed to be and what it is now. Like the Strasburg deal with the Nationals, took the best pitcher off the market. And now the rest of the pitching market for free agency this coming offseason is terrible.
Yep.
And that leads me to believe that if a team started to trade pitchers, they could get a huge reward from somebody because it's like, all right, we can't get help in the offseason. We need to do it now. So, so like how much does a Sonny Gray, who admittedly is having not a good season, but how much does a Sonny Gray get in a trade? How much does, for instance, for the A's, Rich Hill, who will be a free agent, but he's 36 and he's pitching great. What would Rich Hill get as a trade asset? Like there's other guys. Oh man, I just blanked on somebody. I'm having one of those days where I just blank on people. There was a free agent, not a free agent, but there's a pitcher that came up and I was like, he could be a solid trade candidate. Who the hell was I thinking about? Oh, Drew Pomeranz.
Yes, because he's.
Yeah, he could be, like the Padres could get a bunch of stuff for him.
Yeah.
Depending on how other things go, if the Yankees start moving pieces, like maybe a Tanaka or possibly a Pineda, who I don't think Pineda will get much, but there's always the intrigue with Pineda, I guess is the only way to really say it. Like people think he's better than he is, I guess is how I would put that.
Well, man, and the trade. This goes back to hitting, like the trade market could get interesting if Toronto keeps falling down on the standings with Bautista due to hit free agency and them not likely bringing them back.
Encarnacion,
like those could be some huge pieces that hit the trade market.
Yeah. Nathan Eovaldi of the Yankees.
Yeah.
So ERA not good, FIP solid, but he's always been a better potential guy than he's shown. And for instance, we'll get into this when we get into the minor league section to end this show, but the Pirates could be a team looking for some help in the rotation.
Oh, and I mean with Pirates, I forgot the pitching coach, but he's just an ace of just working with these guys and helping turn stuff around.
Yeah,
that would be a dream for him.
Yeah, Ray Searage.
Yeah,
Ray Searage can turn people around. It's almost like voodoo. There's something in the water. It's like the Phoenix Suns training staff.
Yeah, I'd even throw this out, Brent. I keep going back to them. But with Jake Peavy struggles in the last year of his deal, Eovaldi could work with Rigetti, be in a good pitcher's park, and have a good defense behind him.
Yeah, people will be shocked how much pitching to a good defense can actually help you.
Yep, it does a lot.
Yeah. Um, I guess speaking of the Giants, there's the Cub Giants series that I guess we briefly touched on.
Yeah. So it was a fun series to watch. Game one, and it was with how the pitching set up. It was first one Jake Arrieta versus Jake Peavy. I don't think you would need to watch baseball for long to know how that went. It wasn't pretty for San Francisco, but Arrieta just torched. Oh, the one thing in that game was just Jason Hayward. The play he made in right center field in Triples Alley was sensational. Obviously, he got hurt, had that abdominal injury, but I think he is coming back today, so I'm glad to see that just because that play was incredible. Saturday, Sunday, Matt Cain, who's actually starting to, like, I was surprised by it, starting to turn around. One thing the broadcast mentioned is that everyone was telling him Steph was there. He just had to work on getting it consistently in the spots and making it work, and he has. I mean, he got his first win since I think it was July of 2015, which is just crazy.
That's insane.
And obviously, yeah, Sunday they won 1-0 on Sunday Night Baseball. Bumgarner, Sharp, and like with game day before, pitcher contributes to the RBI.
That reminds me of the Kershaw thing with when he pitched against what was it? I think a couple starts ago. He had a 1-0 win. I think it was against the Padres. He had a 1-0 win, and he drove in the only run.
Yeah,
and it's like sometimes it's got to be you, man.
Yep.
I'm reading this ESPN stat right now. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, Clayton Kershaw and Johnny Cueto became the first pair of starting pitchers to throw 1-0 shutouts on the same day since May 25th, 2001, when Greg Maddux and Kerry Wood did it. So we're talking about roughly 15 years to the day.
Wow.
And before that, it was Pedro Martinez and Andy Ashby, of all people.
Wow.
Because when I think of 1-0 shutouts, I think of Andy Ashby.
He's the number one name that comes to mind.
Right? He's got to be. And speaking of the Padres and speaking of the Giants, Matt Kemp needs to probably not be playing right field ever again.
Yeah, that. I mean, talk about what seemed like a simple play.
But then again, that entire ninth inning was so Giants.
Yeah.
Brandon Belt leads it off. What do you get, like that little bloop single to center field over the shortstop?
Yeah.
And then it was a 3-pitch strikeout. Was there another strikeout or was there a pop-up or something?
I think it was a pop-out, yeah.
Yeah, and then Hunter Pence pinch hit for Johnny Cueto, and it's like, okay, we're probably going to the 10th inning, but then the Padres never disappoint.
Yeah, and it's a tired joke, but it's still fun to say. # even year magic.
It's ridiculous, the stuff that actually goes their way.
Giants.
And we talked about it earlier, but that actually was Johnny Cueto's second shutout of the season, not third. Kershaw has 3, Cueto has 2. Since the start of last season, so over the last 2 seasons, Cueto and Arrieta each have 4. Scherzer has 3, but Kershaw has 6.
Holy, Clayton Kershaw is just
He's fun. He's fun, man.
It's unfair.
I think he's honest to God. I think he's the only pitcher who, when I watch him take the mound, it's like you have to watch.
Yep.
Like, yeah, there's other guys, like Noah Syndergaard's kind of up there because he can throw 100, and he's obviously really good. Like, don't get me wrong, like Noah Syndergaard is amazing, but it really, like I tweeted out early this morning, Clayton Kershaw's average game score this year, I believe, was like 75.7. This is average game score, 75.7. Noah Syndergaard's only had 1 start all season above that. So that puts into context like how good Kershaw is.
Let me ask you: is this year's Chris Sale approaching must-watch?
Yeah, he's really good. And like, it's kind of funny though. Like, you see Chris Sale, and you're like, "That's the second best left-hander in baseball." And it's kind of sad that you sit there and say that's the second best left-hander in baseball because Kershaw is so good.
Yeah, it's what I love about scheduling right now. So last night you had Kershaw. Tonight you've got Chris Sale. It's like, okay, yeah, it works out perfectly.
There's an interesting thing with Chris Sale though. He's actually missing fewer bats this year. It's actually a career low in swinging strike percentage.
What else has changed? Is there anything else that jumps out that?
Um, if I had to guess, well, also he's 2 miles an hour lower than he was last year, by the way,
Yeah,
which is a little bit. I guess it could be concerning.
that's been a theme around the league this year. Bumgarner's down. I think who else is down? There's several others that are down. Sonny Gray's down.
Yeah,
Granted,
I noticed Sonny Gray was down. That was a little bit concerning. But then again, it could be that Sale has decided to pitch more to contact,
yeah,
to go deeper into games, because he did have that thing where like he would exert so much that he wouldn't actually go as deep into games as he wanted to. The other thing is his hard hit percentage is the second lowest it's been of his career. So like it's not like he's getting hit hard. It's just he's getting hit more often. So I mean it'll be interesting to monitor to see if there's anything kind of tangible going on there. He's throwing his fastball more than he ever has. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. I mean, what is this, his 5th year as a starter? Because the first 2 years he was a bullpen guy.
yep,
So 5th year as a starter. So he's 27. This should be his physical prime or just about getting there. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it could be nothing. It could be something. It could be nothing. Probably might just be nothing.
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to argue with a guy who's got a 1.58 ERA, but at the same time, you always wonder, if there's a 2 mile an hour velocity drop, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Especially when you're like missing fewer bats.
It's so. I mean, Sale. I mean, he's getting in contact. Just getting quicker out, and then getting through the whole game. So, and what moving quick has been a theme with baseball recently. Obviously, trying to get the pitch clock going. There's been talk about changing intentional walks. Now you just throw up 4 fingers, and the player walks.
Which I'm
base.
fine with.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with it.
I feel like it's there. Like I feel like it was just archaic to just throw 4 pitches.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you just did it because that's kind of just what happened.
on a fun note, just with this, like with MLB, the show, because I didn't want to have my pitcher throw 4 pitches, so I just throw it directly at the guy. Because what you could do with 4, you could do with 1. So
Right.
yeah, it's. I mean, I think it'll be a good step in the right direction. But like with time of play, one issue they're going to run into is for all these little changes they're doing, they're still going to. It's obviously this is more of the far end of the scale occurrence, but Cleveland Boston game on Sunday, 70 minutes for the first 2 innings. It was ridiculous, and obviously you have. I mean, it's some small stuff like David Ortiz stepping out of that box and moving around and different stuff. But you have long pitch counts going. You have fouling stuff off. It's just, I mean, part of it is baseball is just a long game. I'm not
Because
sure.
there is no clock.
Yeah, there is no clock. I'm not sure how much you could have done to avoid that 70-minute 2 inning portion of the game. It's just there's no clock. And it's just feels like it's just one of those things that you have to live with.
I do find it interesting they're changing a little bit of the strike zone.
Yeah, that's the big. Because I think they said offense is down. Obviously, I think we have 12 shutouts now this year.
Yeah, well, offense is down, and the strike zone was getting worse. Like, I think they were saying more low pitches were being called for strikes than ever before.
Yeah,
And you could tell. Like, there was a pitch to Mike Trout in the 9th inning of a game the other day. I think it was Saturday night's game. And the pitch was like, no, was it the Trout or Escobar? Oh, it was to both. Actually, it was to both. They were both under the knees. And they weren't even close to being strikes, but they got called strikes. And Escobar struck him out. And Trout's changed his from what would have been a 2-0 count to a 1-1. It's like, the problem has always been the strike zone. I always feel like because umpires have their own strike zone.
yeah.
And that's not how it should be. Because it shouldn't be that every batter walks up to the plate and goes, well, I'm going to get a different strike zone today than I did yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like one issue that just reading Bruce Bochy raised up is his concern with the change to the strike zone by MLB is he feels like there's going to be even more inconsistency from umpires.
There could, because they're just not going to know, like, what's a strike anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting, I guess. Speaking of pace of play, there's been 22 complete games this year in baseball. Clayton Kershaw has 3 of the 5 quickest pitch complete games. In fact, his one yesterday, no, yeah, his one yesterday was 131 minutes, which comes out to 2 hours and 11 minutes, and that wasn't even the shortest complete game he's thrown this year.
Wow.
He had one earlier this year that was 2 hours and 7 minutes against the Padres.
That's
so. If you want a quick game, go watch Clayton Kershaw pitch,
and you'll get a lot out of it. So you should definitely.
It's like the Mark Burley, but with like better, just a little bit.
So with the plan to get rid of the lower strike zone, is there any pitchers you think who do you think it's going to hurt the most pitching wise?
Sinker ballers. I feel like it could hurt the guys who rely on sinkers, primarily just because it could lead to a lot of batters just not swinging at them now. If they see anything that starts at the knees, they're probably just going to assume that's not a strike, So it could be interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's always one of those things where, like, when they make rule changes like this, you never know until you know.
Yeah.
Like, we could think that it hampers sinker balls, and who knows? Maybe it makes them better. You never know. Because maybe they start pitches more in the strike zone, and now batters are swinging and missing more, or maybe they're just getting on top of pitches more. Who knows?
Yeah.
So it could be interesting because I do feel like games are a little bit too long, but I get why they're long. And I don't want to hear this crap about it's replay. It's replay. Like, the only thing I don't like about replay is I don't like that the managers can hold up the game just to watch it themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like once a play is over and the guy in the dugout's on the phone getting the information, the second the next pitch is delivered, that's it. Like, there shouldn't be a 30-second delay.
I mean, it's like, I feel like, and this goes back to, archaic of how, people are angry about things being changed in the game. Replay is one of them, so I like to blame that. But I mean, there are some small stuff you can do to speed up the replay process, but like, it's really, in the grand scheme of every little puzzle piece that fits into why games are long, it's not a significant piece. It's very far away. Yeah.
I'm glad they get calls right.
It's heaven forbid that the umpire gets corrected.
I don't understand the outcry. Like, oh, games are taking too long because of replay. It's like, yeah, but if they're getting calls right, doesn't that matter more?
Yeah, it should, but no.
It's freaking ridiculous,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, although, as we were talking about intentionally, the intentional walk thing now you just hold up the 4 fingers and that's it. At least that'll help Bryce Harper get to first base faster.
Yeah, because how many walks is Bryce Harper having this year?
All of them, I think, at this point. All of the walks. According to this, he's got 48 and 13 are intentional walks, which is funny because last year, so he has 13 intentional walks in 44 games this year. Last year, he had 15 for the entire year.
Jeez.
So he's going to smash that. But my problem is I don't get why teams are intentionally walking. Well, okay, I get why they're intentionally walking him. But I don't like it. Not because I'm one of those people like, you should just pitch to the pitcher or you should just pitch to the batters and that's it. But it's like, he's not killing you.
No.
His hitting this year is down.
Yeah.
His hard hit percentage is down. His average exit velocity is down. He's hitting a lot more fly balls, so he's getting under balls more, which means he's more likely to pop a ball up than ever before. He's swinging for the fences a lot more, which could be a large portion of why his average is only at 252 right now. His on-base percentage is 441, which is fantastic. It's basically 200 points higher than his average. But that's because he's getting walked so much.
Yeah.
But the other reason he's getting walked so much is because the rest of the Nationals lineup outside of David and Murphy blows.
Yep.
So I get why he gets walked a lot, and I don't like it because you're kind of giving the Nationals free base runners.
Yeah.
But I do agree with what Barry Bonds said. Harper has to start making teams pay by stealing bases. But he's not a great base stealer. And I don't think he ever will be.
No.
The most he ever had was 18 in his rookie year, but he was caught stealing 6 times. He has 44 stolen bases in his career, but he's been caught 20 times. Those aren't great numbers, And the other thing is, how much of last year for him was so far the outlier compared to the rest of his career? Because for the rest of his career, he hit 270, 274, 273. This year, 252. But last year, he was 330. Do I think he's a 330 hitter? He could be for the future. But obviously, he hasn't shown anything prior to the season before that he did. Prior to last season, he didn't show anything before that he could do that. And he hasn't shown this year that he could.
You remember when the year ended and the whole thing became, Bryce Harper is now better than Trout? Wasn't that fun?
That was fun. And, I hate that discussion because I like to enjoy both guys for what they can each do.
Yeah.
I know Bryce Harper's going to get hit home runs that make me question the sheer gravity of the earth. But I know Mike Trout's the better player. At the same time, I don't care.
I'm going to enjoy both and have fun doing it.
I love Mike Trout. I love Bryce Harper. I love Manny Machado. I love Nolan Arenado. I love Chris Bryant. I love Francisco Lindor. I love every young guy because they're fun.
Yep.
And I think Trout ruined Harper because Trout is such a quote unquote professional guy, and Harper's not. Harper marches to the beat of his own drum, and I love that.
Yeah. I
didn't like Bryce Harper about 4 or 5 years ago when he first came up, and it had nothing to do with the style of play. It had entirely everything to do with the way that people were hyping him up. But I understood why they were hyping him up. Yeah. At the same time, that's my problem. That's not a Bryce Harper problem. That's my problem.
I mean, and that's just one of the you mentioned with how Mike Trout, how much of a professional he is, and of how people have held that against Bryce Harper. We both love hashtag make baseball fun again stuff Bryce Harper's trying to do.
Hashtag Puig your friend.
Hashtag Puig. Yes. It's just, so we love these Puig and Harper trying to do, but you just have so many traditionalists who are focused on you have to be a professional and act in this certain way. And so because of that, they vilify Harper, they vilify Puig.
Yeah, it's okay, so Puig got basically the game-winning hit in the 17th inning against the Padres on Sunday night. I'll call it Sunday night because it was 7 p.m. when he got it. But there were so many people just berating him because he didn't move to third on a bunt attempt by A.J. Ellis in the 9th inning. Or the 10th inning or whatever the hell it was. It's you know what? If that was anybody else, no one's giving them crap.
Nope.
But because it's Yasiel Puig, it's he's too stupid. He doesn't have the IQ. He doesn't know how to play baseball. He's just a me-first player. It's what the hell does that have to do with anything? I've watched plenty of players not move up on sack bunt attempts. Not to mention that a sacrifice bunt is stupid.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. I shouldn't say it's just stupid. A lot of the time it's stupid. But, yeah, it's just, it's stupid. And then, so, he gets the game when he hit, and as the second he hits the ball and he knows it's going to be a single, he points back, as he's running full speed out of the batter's box, mind you, he drops the bat and points back to the dugout. He starts pointing the finger at them, laughing, And it's I posted the GIF of it, and I put, how can you not love Yasiel Puig? And some people responded because he's, immature, all this other stuff. It's dude, just enjoy the goddamn game.
People don't want to be happy.
The different personalities in baseball make baseball fun sometimes. Don't neuter everybody just because they're having fun.
Well, I mean, and the big issue with this all is, and this applies to all sports, but it's just how people want athletes to be professional and fit into this box. And unless they're on your team, you can't show emotion. You can't be super angry. You can't be wild and having fun and showing it. You have to be professional. You have to be quiet. You have to do your job and play with the unwritten rules. And it's just bullshit.
Well, yeah, it's I didn't hear anybody berating Hunter Pence on his game-winning quote-unquote single, because sure, we'll call it that. I didn't see anybody berating him for throwing his bat down the second he popped it up. Yeah. He was pissed because he thought he made an out, and he was pissed. But I didn't see anybody berate him for it because the ball fell down.
Yep. And
that's fine. I'm not asking we should berate people for throwing their bat. I don't care about bat flips. They're great.
They are.
Personally, I find them fun. It's just how it is. there's a lot of young talent in baseball right now, and I think we should actually just like them for what they do. I don't need to, because I'm going to work on an article in the next several weeks about why we should just embrace the young generation of baseball rather than just debate about who's better. Because all the time it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It doesn't like would the Nationals trade Bryce Harper for Mike Trout? No. Should they? No. Does it matter? No.
Yeah.
It's like, and the same thing with the Angels. Would the Angels trade Mike Trout for Bryce Harper? No. Should they? No. Doesn't matter? No, because it really doesn't. And that's the thing. There's this influx of young talent, especially with guys like Francisco Lindor and Carlos Correa. Because I have this discussion on Twitter all the time. Who would you rather have, Carlos Correa or Francisco Lindor? Who would you rather have? Would you have Lindor or Correa?
See, and I've seen this. I saw your tweet recently. Like, I still haven't decided yet. Like Lindor,
and that's totally fine.
Yeah, it is. I'm just so happy with both. They're just so fun.
They're fun. They're great. But I do recognize Correa's shortcomings because I do think he's going to have to move to third eventually.
Yeah. Well, and this is just a side note and just getting into MLB a little bit. But that's fine with you, Sam. You have Alex Bregman who's just crushing the ball.
Yeah. It's like, and now Bregman isn't a much better fielder than Correa, but at the same time, you're going to take the slightly better fielder at shortstop because that's technically the position that matters more.
Yep. And I'm going to have two great bats in that lineup. So, yeah. Well, if there's even a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's an infield, especially when they get, what's his name? The first baseman up, AJ Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's worse problems to have, So that's how I like it's just dumb to me the way that people like plant their flag on a certain hill and just leave it there. Now, for me personally, with Lindor and Correa, I'm taking Lindor, but I have no problem if people take Correa.
Yeah.
I do think Lindor's obviously been the better player this season and arguably was the better player last season. But at the same time, I get what makes Correa valuable.
Yeah.
And I get what makes people like him a lot. So I get that part. I guess that's actually a nice little segue into the prospects because we do want to talk prospects.
Yeah. So, and I sent you I tweeted out the video last night. So I was covering Sacramento River Cats game for 27 ounce baseball, first game covering. And, so I was excited to see Orlando Arcia, Brewers' #1 prospect, playing shortstop, hitting third. First two at-bats, struck out swinging against Juan Gregorio, who is Giants' 24th rated prospect. But then against Sergio Romo, who obviously has pitched, got the final out, 2012 World Series, the great success on the majors, on the rehab site in Sacramento. And Arcia just crushed it over center field wall. The guy in the press box said it went about 425 feet. And this is a guy who was always billed up as defensive specialist, outstanding wow defense, which I can attest to, having just seen him in some of the plays he made.
He was Andrelton Simmons.
Yeah, he was Andrelton Simmons. It just was wow. But then the offense has come along, and he's emerged as obviously Milwaukee's #1 prospect. Has a 14-game hitting streak right now. And we were just looking at his numbers because obviously he's playing in Colorado Springs. That can inflate things. But his home and road numbers aren't that different.
Yeah, we were looking at it earlier, like you said. He has more home runs on the road. He's hitting a little bit lower on the road than he is at home, but it's not like it's alarming. He's still hitting over 300.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing is I think, speaking to him, there are a lot of really good prospects, especially really good shortstop prospects. And I think the game is going to start going back to, you know what? We have a lot of good shortstops in the game now. You start looking at it, it's like Corey Seager got called up, been great. J.P. Crawford with the Phillies could be getting called up sometime soon, maybe. Probably once he gets past the Super 2 date, which might be, we discussed it before the air, it's like maybe June 12th or something like that, I think. So, you have J.P. Crawford, you have Orlando Arcia, you have Dansby Swanson, you have Trey Turner, you have Brendan Rodgers, you have Alec Bregman, you have Franklin Barreto, you have Gleyber Torres, if he continues to do what he's doing. You have Jorge Mateo with the Yankees. There's freaking good players out there.
Yep.
The Mets have a solid shortstop prospect as well, Ahmed Rosario, who is supposed to be a solid to good fielder with a great arm. And this year he's been actually hitting, but he's in high A. So, who knows if that actually holds up, but it's nice to see so far. The Padres have a guy, Javier Guerra, who his bat is not as good as his fielding, and he's still in high A and he's not hitting well, but these are guys who could be something down the line. So it's kind of interesting to see how many good shortstop prospects there are now. Because, for instance, on MLB.com, what is it? Tim Anderson, the shortstop for the White Sox, who I feel like has been with the White Sox for like 30 years now.
Yeah.
He's still only 22 somehow. I don't know how that's a thing.
Also, did you mention Dansby Swanson?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, he might be coming up soon, so I hope that's actually true. But what's it called? Tim Anderson's in AAA, and he's hitting well. He strikes out quite a bit. He doesn't really walk much, but he's got speed. He can hit a little bit for average. And his fielding's kind of iffy, but if you can play him there, you can. But the thing is, he's 42nd on the MLB prospect list, right? Just for overall, but he's not even a top 10 shortstop prospect.
Yep, it's
Raul Mondesi Jr. or whatever the hell his name is. He's I think he's 35th or something, 30th, 32nd, something like that. He's in the low to mid 30s. And he's not a top 10 shortstop prospect. That tells you just how good the shortstop position is now. Now, to be fair, because we have to be fair about this, some of those guys might not stick as shortstop, but a lot of them will. And there's so much talent in the minors. Julio Urias, who hasn't been given up a run since I think it's like April 23rd or something.
Yep.
You got Yohan Moncada of the Red Sox, who's been great. You have Lucas Giolito, who's still trying to feel it out, but he's still got great stuff. Blake Snell, who we've talked about before on the show. Lewis Brinson, Rafael Devers.
Can I just mention the guy who I have a man crush on, Victor Robles? Oh, he is my special. I'm in love.
We like him.
I just love him from reading from around the league.
He's supposed to be a 5-tool guy.
Yeah, his speed is 80. His defense is, I think, around 80. And obviously this is early, but just Jeff Hassan had a piece out talking to multiple people. Believe he's going to be top prospect in baseball by the end of the year. And there's several Andrew McCutchen comparisons.
He literally just turned 19 about the day before last Thursday, so the day before my birthday. He turned 19.
Yep.
They got him for $225,000. That is insane.
It is. Just again with the shortstop, because just the time we're alive, you're gonna have.
Is he a shortstop or is he an outfielder?
He's an outfielder. Yeah.
He's center fielder, right? Yeah.
Yeah, center fielder. And I think one other stat with him, I think he already has is it 10 outfielder assists this year? So he's on pace for 30, which is just ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it shows you the Nationals hit it big.
Yep.
That's what you got to do. He's already an A-ball right now, so you figure next year he'll probably get up to Double A this year.
Yeah, because he's hitting 350 right now in A-ball.
Yeah, I think they have him at 340. Yeah, 340. Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
He's a 19-year-old. He just turned 19. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the youngest players there. Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
So with because it's just the era of shortstops we're gonna have. I don't know if Jorge Mateo will stick at shortstop, but just his power is developing and his speed is ridiculous. J.P. Crawford. It's just
Trey Turner, who should be up.
Yeah, freaking Nationals starting Danny Espinosa. Nationals.
I get it. They're trying to avoid Super 2 status, but at the same time, you brought him up last year, man.
Yeah. So I keep, because I know after May 31st, if they bring them up, they get an extra year of contract control. So I don't know if it'll be after that or in June when the Super 2 comes up. But one of those. You have Brendan Rodgers, who he's years away, but
he's on the disabled list right now. But he's been murdering the ball.
He has. What's he on the DL for?
That is a good question. Let me see if I can find out. But the other thing is that's the thing. that we've been talking about, which is there's just so many good, talented players right now.
Yep.
What is he on the disabled list for? I don't know. Is he on the... I hate this. I hate when you're trying to find out stuff and you can't find it.
Okay.
Because minor league prospect news isn't really out there as much.
No, like I mean, just because as I mentioned, I've been following Victor Robles religiously, and just like because he got pulled from a game, and trying to find out what happened is like pulling teeth.
Oh, tight hamstring.
Hamstring. Okay.
Yeah, he's getting daily treatments, and he plans to. Team plans to have him back Thursday. He worked out with the team on Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. He'll be back soon. But yeah, he was tearing the cover off the board. Was he hitting 346? Yeah.
Yep.
Must be nice. Must be nice to have. I don't know what that's like because the Angels traded all of them. So you know.
Well, I mean, Sean Nuke. Oh wait, nope, he's gone.
Oh, speaking of prospects, okay, so this is why I brought up the Pirates earlier. If you are the Pirates and you have a really bad bullpen, their bullpen has not been good this year. It's, I think, been one of like the 5 worst bullpens in baseball, if I'm not mistaken. ERA-wise are the 5th worst. FIP-wise are the 4th worst. K per 9-wise, they're the 4th worst. So basically, like, they're not getting easy outs.
Yeah.
They're walking the 6th most batters per 9 of anybody. Their walk to strikeout rate is the 2nd worst in baseball in terms of K minus BBB percentage. So my point is this: when do you bring up Tyler Glasnow and Jameson Taillon? And if you do bring them up soon to avoid Super 2 status, do you put them in the bullpen or do you start them?
I would put them in the bullpen.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing.
Because you figure, and one other one of the few who is doing well in the bullpen is Neftali Feliz. So I feel like if I could have Glasnow, Feliz, Melanson, and then Taillon in the bullpen, like with the lineup I have, and start Cole, Liriano, hopefully he gets stuff going again. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I think there's some interesting stuff there because Melanson, even Tony Watson, who I feel like he's really good. That's the only thing I can say about Tony. He's just really good, especially against lefties. So like you still have him. You got Melanson. You got Feliz. Archimedes Caminero can throw 8 million miles an hour, but he's not really fooling anybody. And he's got the command of a drunken sailor.
Yeah,
so that's fun. I do think Taillon and Glasnow should get called up, even because you can use them as a spot starter on days in which you want to give Juan Nicasio a rest. You don't want to throw Jonathan Neese that day. You don't want to throw Jeff Locke or Lockie, whatever the hell his name is. Ryan Vogelsong just got beamed in the face.
Yeah, he's out DL facial fractures.
Yeah, I saw the picture. That was gross. But look at Glasnow. Was it 50 innings, 63 strikeouts, 22 walks. 2.16 ERA at AAA. Taillon, 49 in the 3rd innings, a 1.82 ERA, 51 strikeouts, 5 walks.
Jeez.
And he's throwing mid-90s again. So he's throwing mid-90s. Glasnow's throwing, 95 to 98, I think. Glasnow has a good curveball, solid changeup. Taillon's got a good curveball, solid changeup. Like, these are guys you can use.
Yep.
Especially, I mean, Austin Meadows is stuck in Double-A because he's not producing. Then again, there's no outfield spots for him. Josh Bell will probably start next year at first base for them because I doubt they bring back John Jaso, which isn't anything at all against John Jaso.
Yeah.
It is 100% nothing to do with John Jaso. It has to just do with I think they have to give Josh Bell a shot.
Yeah.
And they put him at first base, and he's been hitting solidly, and he's been walking a lot. So I feel like he could fill the Jaso role.
Oh, who else?
Reese McGuire's been okay. He's at Double A. Cabrian Hayes, he's still in Single A. Was it Nick King? Nick Kingham? He hasn't pitched this year because I think he had Tommy John surgery. I think.
I mean, like, it depends how much. I mean, how you feel. It just comes from just reading and like Reese McGuire feels so much like kind of like an Austin Hedges vibe, where a lot of and I know there's value in that, but like I don't know if I have Cervelli for the next 3 years, maybe I explore a trade.
Maybe, but at the same time, is it a bad thing to have a defensive-minded backup catcher?
No, it's not. Yeah.
I mean, he could help a pitching staff. I mean, to be fair, catcher's the one position where I don't think offense matters as much. Like, if you get offense, it's just gravy.
Yeah, that's true.
If you got a guy who's pitch framing great, he's got a good throwing arm, he's able to, get out of his stance and uncoil fast and all this stuff, then maybe there's a chance. It's not like he's hitting poorly this year. He just doesn't have much pop.
Yeah.
He's just solid. He's a decent hitter. I won't say solid. He's a decent hitter. I mean, start looking. He's no Wilson Contreras. Although to be fair, Wilson Contreras wasn't Wilson Contreras for a while. Which, by the way, will make the Cubs even scarier. Let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, and Cubs are probably they'll have Gleyber Torres, to do what they want with, and just
there's just a lot. By the way, catching prospects are really weird.
Yeah,
I feel like the good catchers weren't really like some were great prospects, others weren't.
It feels like there's a lot of projecting there and just trying to.
You're hoping.
Yeah.
Like Jorge Alfaro, who the Rangers traded, almost said traded, to the Angels, or almost said, I can't even talk. The Rangers traded to Philadelphia. I think he was signed from Colombia or something.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're getting them high in the draft a lot of the time. Wilson Contreras was signed by the Cubs.
Yep.
And he was a third baseman.
And just a quick note because you mentioned the Phillies and catching. Like one of my new favorite stories from this year, Tommy Joseph being in the majors. This guy who was the top catching prospect for the Giants. They traded him and some other pieces to get Hunter Pence. And then for the next almost 2 years I mean, Joseph was basically unable to play because he suffered so many concussions. Over the past year and a half, as he's recovered, he's been moved to first base because he can't. If he suffers another concussion again, that might be it. But just after crushing AAA, he's made it to the majors. I think he already hit his first 2 home runs. It's one of my favorite stories here. Just see him and the progress he's made.
By the way, when can we break up the Phillies?
Soon, hopefully.
They're 2 games out of first.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, they are 14-4 in one-run games, but the Giants are 11-5.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the Phillies, and this goes back. We're mentioning starting pitching who could be traded. I mean, they'll probably see what they can get for Hellickson.
Yeah, because it's not like he's been bad this year.
No, he hasn't.
So I feel like he hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad. I feel like guys who can rekindle some of their stuff, you can kind of get something for them. He's still under 30. He's like 28 or something, isn't he? 29.
Yeah, just turned 29 a month ago.
Yeah, they might be able to get something for him. Because I wonder how much of that is because of where, like, his ERA is 3.99, but I wonder how much of that's because he pitches in Philly.
Yeah.
It could be nothing. Could be something. I don't know what else they can trade. Like, that's the thing with the Phillies. They're so young, there's not like anybody they can trade. Because they're not going to trade Velasquez. They're not going to trade Aaron Nola. They're not going to trade Odubel Herrera. They're not going to trade Franco. They're not going to trade Cesar Hernandez. Maybe they trade Freddie Galvis. I don't know.
Could they trade Jeanmar Gomez?
How old is he? 28? They could.
I mean, because obviously he's been, what is he, perfect in save situation still? Or
I think he's. Yeah, I think he's perfect.
yeah, he's perfect. He's got 2.55 ERA.
What are they paying him?
One,
1.4 million. Is he a free agent after this year?
um,
He might be because he's got 6 years of service time. No, he's a free agent after next year. So they could get something for him. I wonder who would trade for him now. That's an interesting thought process.
Pittsburgh could use him. I mean, San Francisco could use another bullpen guy. Who else? Bullpen pieces will find homes. Like there's always every contender wants more bullpen help.
That's the one thing I've always noticed about bullpen help is or bullpens is teams feel like they need bullpen help more than I think they realize they actually do.
Yeah.
Or more than they actually do is what I should say. Because I think bullpens, and obviously the Royals prove this kind of not really true all the time, but I think bullpens by and large are so what's the word I'm looking for? Like wonky. Like you don't know what you're getting every time.
Yeah.
Then again, there is the Yankees who should trade everybody because they're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
That's the thing. If the Yankees open it up and they start trading Betances and Andrew Miller, maybe.
Well, yeah, because I think Buster Olney was just showing that he thinks Andrew Miller of San Francisco is going to be a potential fit.
I feel like the Dodgers should try to get him.
Yeah.
The Dodgers needs that's the thing I didn't understand is why did more teams not offer more for Andrew Miller in free agency?
I mean, it feels like, they all want bullpen help during the season, but once the offseason comes, they put it on the back burner. They're just like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and I know what people are going to say. Why don't the Dodgers just continue with the trade for Aroldis Chapman? It's like, first off, we don't know what they were trading.
Yeah.
It's nice to say they should have just traded Aroldis Chapman or traded for Aroldis Chapman without knowing what they're giving up. I mean, for all we know, they could have given up De Leon.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Do you think if they brought in Chapman, Jansen would have returned the following year, this next offseason?
I think it would have depended on the jobs. Because I think that Chapman would have been see, I don't know. Who would have been the closer? Chapman probably would have been the closer. I don't know. I do also feel like the Dodgers would have overpaid for Jansen to keep him. Because if you have dominant 8th and 9th inning guys, you're set.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's funny you mentioned the Yankees in the Buster Olney article because when he talked about trading Carlos Beltran, the 3 teams he mentioned were the Indians, Nationals, and Royals.
Yep. Yeah.
And so it says the Yankees may well listen to offers for Andrew Miller and or Chapman, which makes me think that they're just going to trade one of them, not 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing with just how teams look at bullpen is like, I feel like because more they'll see a failed prospect. I feel like it's starting to change. Like they'll see a failed prospect and they'll kind of give up on them. But like we've seen, for some of these
Wade Davis.
Yeah, basically Wade Davis. Don't give up on these guys so soon.
Yeah, I've never understood that. Like, I've never understood just giving up on a guy because you're not getting him as a starter. It's like asinine to me. It actually bothers me because like there's so much you can get out of guys. And it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, for instance, Andrew Miller, another failed starter.
Yep.
Who's someone else I'm thinking of?
I'm trying to remember who's because someone was talking about Joe Kelly as a potential maybe moving him to the bullpen.
I don't see why you wouldn't,
Yeah.
Kenley Jansen was a catcher. Who was it? There's somebody else that I was like, Aurelius Vizcaino.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be a really good pitching prospect, but he always had arm problems. Luke Hochevar,
Yep.
Zach Duke, remember him as a starter.
I still feel like this is the route Kyle Crick is going.
Brian Mattis,
Yeah.
since he just got traded.
Well, traded then DFA'd.
The DFA, yeah. So he wants to start somewhere, and I feel like he can get a job somewhere as a starter, but I also feel like his best role is as a situational reliever.
Yep.
And he was good. I want to say Jake McGee started out as a starter. He did. Yeah, he did. He started out as a starter, and then around it was 2010 and 11, they moved him into the bullpen.
See, MLB teams, it's this weird thing where these prospects you see has failed. If you try them in a different role, it might actually work out. That's
Joe Blanton, who's actually been kind of a fun signing for the Dodgers, believe it or not. I mean, hey, if you're getting results from Joe Blanton, you might be doing something kind of right.
And just one more thing, because I've been wanting to ask about this, is Yasiel Puig. So obviously you mentioned defensively he's been great, but what about at the plate? What do you think is going on there?
Okay, so this is the problem with Puig right now. Early in the season, the first 2 weeks, he was working counts better, and he was able to basically get pitches that he could drive. But over the last little while, for instance, hold on, let me find it, because there was something that I saw that made me realize it was kind of crazy. Hold on, let me find it. Where is it? Okay, so from April 1st to from April 4th to April 14th, Puig was hitting 405 in 44 plate appearances. He had a weighted on base of 479, weighted runs created plus of 210. But he was working a lot of counts, and he was able to see a ton of pitches, and he was driving the ball extremely well. Like, I remember I wrote an article about, he was hitting some of the hardest balls in baseball, But since then, since April 15th to now, so we're talking 133 plate appearances since, he's hitting 200, weighted on base of 232, weighted runs created plus of 43. The issue with him is he's not taking pitches anymore. He's swinging a lot at first pitches. Since April 15th, he has a swinging strike rate of almost 17%. He's swinging at pitches out of the zone nearly 38% of the time, and you can't do that. That's just not a viable way to basically make a living, So
Yeah.
he's got to rein it in a little bit. For instance, for the first 2 weeks of the season, or first 10 days, I guess if you want to call it that, he had a swinging strike rate of 13%, out of zone swing of 33%. So he's up 5% on out of zone swinging, he's up 3% on swings and misses, and you can really see it based on just watch him at the plate. He looks kind of uncomfortable at times, swinging at the first pitch a lot. First 10 days, first pitch strike percentage was 57%. Since then, it's been 68%. So he's really swinging a lot of pitches. There's other stuff at play. He was walking more in the first couple games of the season. I gotta find what it was. I think it was something stupid where it was he only has walked once since April 17th or something. I don't know. I have to go look it up. I'm actually doing that right now because that's what I do. Yeah, it just hasn't been good for him. Okay, here it is. Since April 12th, Yasiel Puig has walked twice.
Oof.
Wow. He struck out 33 times.
Is there any word on just obviously not looking at how he's doing in the clubhouse?
Oh, they seem to love him.
Good.
They seem to love him this year. He's been a tremendous defender, and that's the thing that I hope people actually focus on a little bit. Is you don't have to hit to be productive.
Nope. But because of fantasy, people look at production.
Yeah, and that's the problem is fantasy-driven stuff, which I get. It's fine. But this year he's been great in the outfield. +10 on defensive runs saved in right field. I think he actually leads all right fielders in defensive runs saved. Or no, he's second to Adam Eaton. That's what it is. He's second to Adam Eaton. Because Adam Eaton somehow turned into a superstar. That like happened.
Well, yeah, the Chicago White Sox have turned into a machine. So,
Yeah, actually, Adam Eaton leads baseball in defensive runs saved, so that's great.
wow.
Because we all predicted that.
Oh, yeah.
What's it called? Melvin Upton's been significantly better than Justin, which is always something we predicted this year.
Yep.
Let's see, where is it? I gotta find the comparison because someone did the comparison the other day and it was kind of funny. But yeah, basically he's just been way better. I think this year he's here it is. So this year Melvin Upton's got a 331 weighted on base and a 110 weighted runs created plus. Justin Upton's at 258 and 57.
And let's see, Justin Upton's making how much more times than his brother?
Actually, I don't think Melvin's making that cheap of a deal because I think Melvin's making is he making like 12 million right now?
Oh, one thing I forgot that I do want to discuss.
Oh, he's making 15 and a half.
15 and a half. Jackie Bradley Jr.
Oh, the hit streak?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been fun.
I mean, I think he's sitting over the hit streak. He's sitting over 400. So I mean, obviously this is the far end of the spectrum for what he's like. Whenever the hit streak ends and he returns to normal, what type of hitter do you think he is, average wise, numbers wise?
Well, here's the thing. I think last year, like there's a mix between last year and this year. Where last year he hit 250, this year he's hitting 340. But I do think he's starting to understand what pitches to swing at more. Because he did take a lot of pitches. Because Jackie Bradley Jr., he loves to work the count.
Yep.
But that's a problem in and of itself, too, where it's like, okay, now you're usually stuck in a two-strike count all the time. So that's why Jock Peterson's K rate is so high. Oh, I have a train going by. I gotta love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jackie Bradley Jr. in the history hitting like 408 or something. So I don't know what he can be, but I feel like with his defense and his base running, which he's not a great base runner, but he's a solid base runner. He could be quite valuable. Maybe a 4-win player, maybe like a Kiermaier.
Yeah.
Oh, not a defensive. Obviously, no one's Kevin Kiermaier defensively. Which Kevin Kiermaier, please get better. I'm so sorry. But about a 3.5, 4-win player, maybe.
I mean, and yeah, just with how Jackie Bradley's doing, and then that Red Sox lineup with David Ortiz having a monster year, Travis Shaw. I think he's like second or third in American League in extra base hits.
Because we all predicted that.
Yep. Oh, baseball, you're just such a magnificent, incredible thing.
By the way, shout out to Jock Peterson. He's lowered his swing and strike rate by 2.6% this season.
Wow. People were ready to give up on him after the second half.
Yeah, he's actually been good. Like, wins above replacement, he's at a 1 right now, which is whatever. But at the same point, it's like he's been really good at the plate. He's actually been, in terms of weighted on base, he's their second best player.
Wow.
Do you know where their first best player is? Trace Thompson.
Yeah, that trade worked out well for Chicago and LA.
Yeah, the Reds are still trying to figure something out.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the Reds got.
I think they got Jose Peraza and some pitching specs or something.
Did they?
Yeah, I think Peraza was the main.
Oh, yeah, they got Brandon Dixon, Jose Peraza, and Scott Schiebler, whatever, former Dodger guy. Brandon Dixon is in Double-A, hitting 263. Jose Peraza he's up in the majors right now, but he's hitting like 250 in limited at bats.
I think he got a cup of coffee in the majors when Billy Hamilton.
Yeah.
And he came back.
He's hitting 291 in AAA, which isn't bad, obviously. Well, listen to me saying 291 is not bad. That's actually solid to good. Or good. I should just say that's good. That's good. Schebler Yeah, he hasn't really done much.
Nope.
So yeah.
I don't know if you've looked, but who do you think leads the National League in wins above replacement?
The National League?
Yeah.
Oh, Kershaw. Or you just talking about position players?
Just position players.
Is it still Dexter Fowler? Because I know it was Dexter Fowler like 2 weeks ago.
Nope.
Ooh, who is it?
Stephen Biscotti.
Of course. Or are you using Baseball Reference?
I think this is ESPN. Never mind. Hold on. So that may change.
Because I use Fangraphs, but I know that Dexter Fowler on Fangraphs was like leading for like the entire season, and Mike Trout just took the lead from him like the last couple of days. So Mike Trout's the first 3-WAR position player of the year.
Yeah. So I think that was yeah. So I'll see if that changes on. Whoop.
I don't like the wins above replacement that ESPN uses. It's so weird.
Well, there's a lot of things ESPN uses that are interesting.
Stephen A. Smith. I'm petting my cat right now, and he's hating life.
Oh, Gregory Polanco. Oh, I love you, Gregory Polanco.
I love the Pirates outfield.
It's amazing. And we've talked about them before, but it's just
I just love the Pirates and the Cubs so much.
they're so.
I just hate that one of them will be a wild card because that's so lame.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the wild card, but I don't feel like winning your division should matter that much. If you're like a 90-win or like an 88-win division team, and some wild card team hauls off 96 wins.
Like, I mean, I agree, but baseball is going to stick to some of their archaic.
Oh yeah, no. What I'm trying to say though is like I feel like at that point, the best record should kind of get a little bit of leeway to where if you have like a 97 win or let's say a 96 win wild card team and an 88 win division team, why is the wild card team going to play in an actual wild card game? Why doesn't the division team? But I guess I get why not, but yeah.
Yeah.
It just seems so bogus last year that only one of the 3 best National League teams was going to make the NLCS no matter what.
Yep, but that's baseball for you with some of their stuff.
Yeah, although I do feel like they should go back to the thing where it's like if whoever wins the wild card playing game shouldn't be forced to play against their own division, but then that would create problems in travel schedule.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. But all right, man.
Yeah, so I think we've had almost 90-something minutes of baseball discussion, which is good. I mean, I would say, after the 90 minutes, we'll talk to the trainers, find out how everything is. We'll look at tomorrow, see, the day after, if there's anything sore or not. But, first time back from DL, I feel good.
I feel lively.
Yeah, so it's good stint. We'll be back out there Sunday, I think, this counts every 5 days. Yeah, every 5 days. We're on that every 5-day thing. So there we go. Starter, we returned with the move. Well, excuse me, not the moves. With the Burn the Ships podcast. And we want to thank everyone for listening. It was fun. We shall see you very soon.
Thank you.